men will be chasing the 21:03 we just saw in Heat 1. In Heat 2, we'll have Jaheel Smickle in Lane 2 of New Mexico Junior College. In Lane 3, we'll have Isaac Lewis of LSU. Lane 4, Bogdan Vidojevic, Arizona. Lane 5, Miles Thomas. And as we get reset here, a little start issue. Like I said, Lane 5 will have Miles Thomas of LSU, and Lane 6 will have Jeremiah Walker of LSU. So a distinctly LSU flavor to this heat number 2. And we'll await the starter re-coordinating this heat to see if any infractions need to be dealt with, or if we're just going to restart and hope for a better start in just a moment. So there you see the pair from LSU. That's Miles Thomas on the left and Jeremiah Walker, who's now at the top of your screen in lane 6. So it looks like we will just have a trio of Tigers. So this is going to be all LSU in this heat. Isaac Lewis from LSU in 3. Miles Thomas of LSU in 4. And Jeremiah Walker, LSU, is in lane 6. So they bring the Battle of Baton Rouge to Albuquerque here for a little inter-team rivalry. This is probably not too dissimilar from practice throughout the week in Baton Rouge. Lewis, Thomas, and Walker. Up and away we go for heat number 2 of the men's unseated 200 meters. That's Miles Thomas making up the stagger of Jeremiah Walker to his outside. Miles Thomas with the lead as we head to the straightaway. Oh, except a little stumble there. Stumble from Thomas is going to give the race to Jeremiah Walker. Looks like he lost his balance going around the curve, and that cost him a victory, if not even the whole race. We'll see if he stepped out of the line, but as we look at the results, 21:03 for Jeremiah Walker, so he matches the fastest time from heat number 1. Miles Thomas, for now, second, 21:42, and it was Isaac Lewis in 3rd place. There goes heat 3, which was all LSU. I'm not really sure what the problem was for Miles Thomas. Could be that he just simply lost his balance. Did finish the race, but he'll be a lot more excited about the start of that race for him than the finish. Heat number 3 already on the track. There you're looking at Joseph Gomez-Witten of UTEP. We will also have Christopher Good of Cal State Fullerton. He'll run in lane 4. David Nyamfaria of New Mexico Junior College in 5, and Wesley Todd of Ole Miss. He will run in lane 6. So matching 21:03s in our first 2 heats. That was what our winning times were. In Heat 1, it was Jalen Knox from USC, 21:03. And in Heat 2 is Jeremiah Walker of LSU, 21:03. Here's Heat 3, our first one with 4 competitors set to take the track. Gomez-Witten, Good, Nyamfaria, and Todd. Fast start from David Nyamfaria of New Mexico Junior College. He's blown past Wesley Todd to his outside and has the advantage into the straightaway. Todd, though, starting to rally. Not going to have enough room. David Nyamfaria takes the win in heat number 3. Take a look at the clock here. So We have a new fastest time of the afternoon, 21.01. The winning time for Naim Faria, 21.08 for Wesley Todd in second, with Good in third, and Joseph Gomez-Witten taking fourth. So we're moving through these heats awfully quickly to start day one of competition here at the New Mexico Collegiate Classic. There's Evander Thomas of TCU getting set to run his heat number 4. He'll run in lane 3. To his outside, Joshua Ford of UTEP. In lane 5, Amal Glasgow of LSU. Those are the 3 in heat 4. .21.01, the current fastest time from David Naim Faria in heat 3. So Thomas, Ford, and Glasgow, the 3 in heat 4. Thomas of TCU, Ford of UTEP, and Glasgow of LSU. We'll see plenty more from TCU coming up later in this meet. TCU will bring out the defending 200-meter women's champion from this event and the defending 200-meter national champion, India Mayberry. She'll run for TCU later up this evening. All right, off we go in heat number 4. Glasgow from LSU out well in lane number 5, battling with Ford to his inside. And here comes Evander Thomas now of TCU. Glasgow, though, has a sizable advantage, and he'll take that all the way to the finish line. It's Amal Glasgow winning heat number 4. .21.03. Man, these times have been bang, bang, bang all over the place, or excuse me, all right in the 21.0 range. We've got 21.03 and 21.03 and then a 21.01. So really consistent winning times. So before we get you set for our next race, we will step aside for a short break. We'll be right back with more from the 2026 New Mexico Collegiate Classic. Welcome back to Albuquerque, where we are in the midst of our heats of the men's unseated 200 meters. On the track is heat number 5. In heat 5, we'll have Tariq Wright of Ole Miss in lane 4, John Paredes, Arizona in lane 5, and Johnny Bai, New Mexico Junior College in lane 6.
On your marks.
So 21.01, the fastest time we've seen. And that came from heat number 3, David Naim Faria, New Mexico Junior College. So his teammate here, Johnny Bai, knows he wants to top that for bragging rights, if nothing else. And he'll run in lane 6 here in this heat. Tariq Wright, John Paredes, Johnny Bai. John Paredes, Arizona, making up the stagger on Bai to his outside. And he blows past him. Tariq Wright also coming strong. But Paredes has the advantage. Let's see if he can hold it to the line. He will. Still right around that 21.0 range. We'll look at the final time. It's 21.02. Cannot believe the consistency here. We've gone 21.03 to 21.01 to 21.02. So the winning times in our first 5 sections have all been between 2/100ths of a second. That's impressive, if nothing else, for the consistency. Paredes takes heat number 5 as heat number 6 assembles on the track. In this one, we will have in lane 3, Luke Ruritanyanya of Northern Arizona, Jacob Holguin, Grand Canyon in 4, Jalen Holmes of Iowa in 5, and DeKel Minor, Ole Miss, running in lane 6. So you get a look at our heat number 6. Gives you a good look at some of the schools from all across the country that we will feature this weekend in our 2 days of competition. Iowa, Mississippi, Arizona. And so we're excited to bring you a diversity of schools and competitors here this weekend. Heat 6 in the blocks. Jalen Holmes of Iowa running well there in that yellow top. Pulling ahead of Minor into our final straightaway. Holguin trying to have a word on this one, but it's going to be too little too late, as Jalen Holmes will win heat number 6. He seems to like that performance. Well, 21.08, so we're still in the 21.0s, but a little bit outside the 21.01, 21.02, 21.03s we've been seeing in previous heats. But Holmes seems to be pleased with himself after a commanding victory in heat number 6. So he'll throw on the sweats and in all likelihood get prepared for more races coming up in these next 2 days. So we'll reset the blocks and get set for heat 7, which will feature Colton Conyers, who you see on your screen from TCU, Sebastian Avena of UTEP in 4, Joshua Caleb, LSU in 5, and Justin Frater, TCU, in lane 6.
On your marks.
So after a moderate delay here, we are settled into the blocks for heat 7. And off we go. Conyers, Avenia, Caleb, and Frater, your 4 here. Joshua Caleb of LSU working to pass Frater of TCU. Oh, and a stumble around the curve. That's our second one of those. Caleb, though, will survive that race. Joshua Caleb seemed no worse for the wear for that stumble, although there has been now 2 issues out of that lane 5. All right, a big improvement on our fastest time of the day, though, for Joshua Caleb, 20:71, a really strong run for the LSU Tiger to win that heat. And like I said, he dominated that one despite even a stumble with about 75, maybe 50 meters left to go in the race. So a really impressive run from Joshua Caleb. And he takes our fastest time of the afternoon here early in day 1 at the New Mexico Collegiate Classic. Now, moving on to Heat 8, we have Zion Metters of UTEP, Amir Williams, also of UTEP, and Sean McCollum of UCLA. There's Sean McCollum, sprinter from UCLA. Looks like we'll have various shades of yellow and blue here in this heat, with UTEP there rocking a slightly darker hue compared to the very bright yellow, or gold even, if you will, of UCLA and the Bruins. And it's too bad because we were scheduled to have an Iowa athlete in lane 6, but that athlete has scratched. So we were deprived of an all-yellow heat number 8. Alas, we'll settle for Zion Metters of UTEP in lane number 3, Amir Williams of UTEP in 4, and Sean McCollum, UCLA, is in 5. Heat 8 in the blocks. Off and running in heat number 8 of the men's unseated 200 meters. Sean McCollum has the lead out in lane 5. See how he takes this turn that's given some other athletes some struggles. He does it cleanly, and Sean McCollum, UCLA, wins heat 8 with ease. 21:27 the winning time, heat 8 for Sean McCollum. Amir Williams second, 22:44, with Zion Metters third. There's a look at Nicholas Martinez of Northern Arizona. He'll run in lane 3 for heat number 9. In lane 5, we have Dominic Calhoun of Ohio State, with Gregory Prince of LSU to his outside in lane 6. So this is heat 9, about ready to go for our men's 200 meters. These are the unseated sections. If you're just tuning in, we are in the midst of our first event on the track this weekend. First event of many over the 2 days of competition here in Albuquerque. And we should have some fantastic races coming your way throughout, including some NCAA All-Americans going head-to-head in the invitational sections of the 200 for both the men and the women, along with some top distance athletes in the mile, in the 800 as well, and tomorrow the 60 hurdles and 60 sprints. So plenty of good action coming your way. But before all that, we have Heat 9 of the men's 200. Martinez is in 3, Calhoun is in 5, and Prince is in 6. Pretty even through halfway here in this 200. Now Dominic Calhoun as Prince pulls up. So Prince of LSU is out of this race. And now Calhoun will easily cruise to victory in Heat 9. So you hate to see that from any athlete, as Gregory Prince had to stop at about halfway. 20:99, and there's Prince gingerly exiting the track. So we hope it's nothing too serious. 20:99 though for Dominic Calhoun of Ohio State to win Heat 9. Just our second sub 21 second performance this afternoon. So a good run there from Ohio State's Dominic Calhoun, despite the fact that he seemed a little disappointed with that effort. But perhaps he would have run faster if Prince hadn't suffered an issue halfway through. So a little bit of a disappointment there on that front. Here's Heat 10. We have Chris Hurd of Grand Canyon in lane 3. Rice Reynolds of Stanford will run in lane 4. And in lane 6, we have Jason Smith of Arizona. Having commentated 2 previous meets at the Albuquerque Convention Center this season, I can confirm that Stanford's Rice Reynolds is getting good frequent flyer miles, as he has been here in Albuquerque the last 2 weekends competing on both days. So he is jetting back and forth between Palo Alto and Albuquerque a lot this indoor season. So your field once again, Heat 10. Chris Hurd is in lane 3 from Grand Canyon. Reynolds of Stanford's in lane 4. And Jason Smith of Arizona is in lane 6. Hurd, Reynolds, and Smith, your 3 in Heat 10. Heat 10's underway. Strong start from Smith of Arizona in lane 6, who you see at the top of your screen. Here comes Reynolds and Hurd to make this a tight one heading to the finish line. Reynolds has the advantage, and he will take the victory. Good race in Heat 10 there between Rice Reynolds and Jason Smith. $21.34 for Rice Reynolds. Jason Smith a close second, $21.40. Chris Hurd of Grand Canyon third, $21.84. So we'll step aside for a short break. Be back with you shortly with more coverage of the 2026 New Mexico Collegiate Classic. Welcome back inside the Albuquerque Convention Center. for day one coverage of the New Mexico Collegiate Classic. We're set to go for Heat 11 of the men's unseated 200 meters. We have in lane 3, Sean Martin of Northern Arizona, Amari Taylor in lane 4 of UTEP, Dylan Poteet, Grand Canyon in lane 5, and Grant Buckmiller, LSU, will run in lane 6. And away we go with Heat 11. Good one brewing here between Poteet and Buckmiller out in the exterior lanes. Buckmiller with the advantage out of lane 6, and he'll cruise to victory. Looks like we get a sub 21 second time, so we'll consult the clock here. Fastest time of the day, 20:71. We will not exceed that, but it's still a good time with 20:85 for the win, Grant Buckmiller, and he seems to be quite pleased with it. Poteet second, 21:55, with Amari Taylor third, 21:71. Sean Martin takes fourth, 22:40. So Buckmiller seemed to enjoy his performance, got dapped up right after. Just see you get a nice spring in your step after a good performance on the indoor track, and he looked like ready to go for possibly another lap. That was Grant Buckmiller winning Heat 11. With Heat 12 on the track next. There you get a look at our field. In this field, we will have, well, to be honest, folks, I'm going to wait until we get athletes behind their blocks, because scratches are a part of track, as always. And so we'll wait to see who exactly. Yeah, and it will just be a 2-athlete field here in Heat 12. We'll have Gabriel Agjegbo of Stanford in lane 5 with David Akhalu of Iowa in lane 6. So our first 2-man head-to-head battle here will go in Heat 12. I'll admit I'm quite a fan of these. Obviously, they're not practical with how many races you have to get through, but I like the head-to-head races. Heat 12 is underway. We have Agjegbu in 5 and Akhalu in 6. Akhalu in the white headband and the yellow kit of Iowa. And now Agjegbu moving to try to catch up. But it's going to be Akhalu holding off Agjegbu to get the victory there in Heat 12. 21:22 the winning time for the Hawkeye. Agjegbu second, 21:53. Halu says, after that run, I deserve a chair. So, taking a seat after that race. Can't say I blame him. Although, I don't know if his coach would love that. Can't speak for a coach, but right after you exert your body like that, going straight to a chair can lead to cramps. I'm sure he'll be up and around in just a moment. In any case, Heat 13. Get a look at our field here. We have Hayden Wiley of Alabama in lane 4, Vaughn Devon III of Iowa in lane 5, and Dominic Gates of Cal State Fullerton will run in lane 6. This race gives you a preview of all the different areas of the country represented for this weekend's competition here in Albuquerque. So we have the South in Alabama, the Midwest in Iowa, and the West, Cal State Fullerton. Wiley, Devon the third, and Gates are your three in Heat 13. Off we go in Heat 13 to the men's unseated 200 meters. Devon running well from Iowa. It's Devon the third, making up the stagger on Gates, passing him, and with just the finish line ahead for Devon the third, 21.4 the unofficial time. Let's look at our official results here. 21:47 for Devon the third. Gates was second, 21:58, and Wiley third, 22:80. So a field of four men will take Heat 14. We'll have Joseph Bailey from Stanford in lane 3, Malachi Austin of LSU in 4, Nicholas Miller of USC is in 5, and Parker Harrison of Cal State Fullerton will run in lane 6. An all California heat broken up by Malachi Austin of LSU. Parker Harrison with the white kit with the large F on front for Fullerton. Seem to be working through some sort of, I don't want to call it an issue, a impediment here before we get Heat 14 underway. These unseated 200 meters kind of serving as the appetizer or the preview for the invitational sections coming up later on this afternoon, and those really serve, in my opinion, as some of the best competitions at this New Mexico Collegiate Classic, with some All-Americans and even an individual NCAA champion on the women's side going to compete. But before that, Heat 14, the men's unseated 200 meters. It's Nicholas Miller making up the stagger and passing Parker Harrison to his outside. Malachi Austin in purple from LSU trying to challenge, and Harrison making a comeback, but it's going to be Nicholas Miller, USC, winning Heat 14 of the men's 200. 21:12, the winning time for Miller. Harrison takes second in 21:26. Austin a close third, 21:28.
Heat 17 through 19, please report to the track. Heat 17 and 19 of the men's 200 meter unseated, please report to the track. Heat number 15 on the track now in lane 3,
So Heat 15 of 19 will step to the track next in the men's 200. Get a look here at our competitors. We have Caden Gibson of UTEP in 3, Dominic Biles, TCU in 4, Royal Haley in lane 5 of Arizona, and Josiah Johnson of Northern Arizona is in lane 6. Everybody's still chasing Joshua Caleb's 2071 run in an earlier heat. Yeah, that was heat 7. 2071. Really strong time on an indoor track for 200 meters. Heat 15. Gibson, Biles, Haley, and Johnson. Your 4 in heat 15. And away we go. Heat 15 is off and running as Haley slowly starts to creep up on the shoulder of Johnson. He isn't past him yet. Dominic Biles there as well from TCU. This is going to be a good final straightaway. Johnson has the advantage out of lane 6, and he'll hold it. With the lean at the line. Didn't need the lean for the victory, but he did it nonetheless, and that'll help his time. 21.10 for Josiah Johnson to win heat 15. Excuse me, that's 21.19 for Johnson to win in heat 15. So we'll have a few more heats of the men's unseated 200 meters, but before all that, we will step aside, be right back with more on FloTrack after this. Welcome back to Albuquerque and the Albuquerque Convention Center, site of the 2026 New Mexico Collegiate Classic, where we are preparing for heat 16 of the men's 200 meters. This is the unseated portion of our competition, with the invite sections of the 200 coming up later on this evening. Heat 16, a field of 4, will feature Logan Eubanks of TCU in 3, AJ Robinson, Grand Canyon in 4, Ronnie Kendrick of TCU in 5, and Wazell Wright of Cal in lane 6. Heat 16, up and away. It's Kendrick in the white, challenging Wright to his outside, but Robinson challenging Kendrick himself. Now Wright starting to move. But it's Kendrick of TCU taking the victory in Heat 16. So a 21-26 victory for Ronnie Kendrick, the TCU sprinter. AJ Robinson takes second there in Heat 16, 21-41.
Heat 19.
He's on the track. The red shorts there, we have lane 3, Somali Farrington, New Mexico Junior College. Jace Wingert of Northern Arizona will run in 4. Noah Lawson, Grand Canyon in 5. And Ben Stratman, Grand Canyon, is in lane 6. We are on heat 17 of 19 heats. A lot of one-lap races this afternoon in Albuquerque. We'll finish these next 3 heats and then have the women's unseated 200 meters coming your way right after the conclusion of those races. Farrington, Wingert, Lawson, and Stratman. Strong start from Noah Lawson of Grand Canyon. Chasing his teammate, Ben Stratman, up to his shoulder and past. Noah Lawson running away with heat 17. As Grand Canyon goes 1-2 in heat 17. Lawson and Stratman, your top 2 finishers. 21:02. Stratman 21:31 for second. So Noah Lawson, smooth, controlled victory in heat 17. That gets us back on our earlier heats, or very early heats of this competition where everybody was running the 21:0s. So that trend is continuing with Noah Lawson winning heat 17. There's Jan Vasquez of Arizona getting set for heat 18, which will feature a scratched athlete in lane 4, and then we jump to lane 5, Timothy Grice of UTEP, who you see on your screen, and his teammate to the outside, Elias Munoz, in lane 6. Heat 18. 3 men to take the track for this heat 18. Away we go, heat 18 of the men's 200. The UTEP minor battle going on in lanes 5 and 6 with Grice and Munoz. Grice has the advantage. Now Vasquez of Arizona trying to get in the mix. He's not going to catch up. It's going to be Timothy Grice, the winner in heat 18. 21:36 for Grice. Munoz second, 21:52. So that was heat 18. With our final unseeded heat on the track. There's Eric Reyes Aguilera of Northern Arizona. He'll run in lane 3. Lane 4 is a scratch. Lane 5 will be DeAndre McIntosh of UTEP with his teammate in lane 6, Matthew Polk. So no Cole Kopage, who was slated to run in lane 4. Just 3. In the blocks we go for heat 19. And away we go. Heat 19. Reyes Aguilera, McIntosh, and Polk, your trio in this last heat of the men's 200. McIntosh working up on the shoulder of his teammate Polk. He goes past, but Polk responds, and he will take the victory. So Matthew Polk is passed by his teammate DeAndre McIntosh, but he rallies in the final 50 meters to get the victory in 21:36. And then a hug with his teammate McIntosh, who was second, 21:49. So the top two go the way of the minors. So that concludes our unseeded sections of the men's 200. We'll have the women coming your way next. We'll step aside for just a moment. Be right back with more from Albuquerque. Oh, it's Pentathlon. Okay. Oh, okay. My bad. I just. Okay. Yeah.
Ready.
The what record? Like the meet record, or? Well, I know it's not the track record, but yeah. I'm not trying to be like confrontational with you. But I know they've had NCAA championships here that have been faster. I mean, I'm not questioning the information you got, but I'm just wondering what maybe there's maybe like could be the, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. And like I said, I'm not trying to be like, oh, you're lying, but yeah. And I see on where I'm looking at events like that they have like what's called the facility record, and I see that reflected on the results, but I know from history and like I know athletes have run under 20 seconds on this track. So anyways. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and not to mention that somebody's going to run faster than that in like a couple hours in the invitation heat. So anyways, so okay.
We are the 800-meter run in the women's pentathlon, and these competitors on the track right now, the bottom 6 currently.
And we're back inside the Albuquerque Convention Center. We're just underway with Heat 1 of the women's 800 for the pentathlon. This is their final event of 5 for this multi-event competition. Just through one lap now. Heat 1 here features Nyjah Gordon of Ole Miss, Emily Johnson, Cal State Fullerton, Fatima Ezrae Shefag of New Mexico Junior College, Elijah Ebo Rennick of UTEP, Samira Avila of UTEP, and Brayla Sargent of UTEP as well. So that's Samira Avila of UTEP up front through our first 2 laps here. Our leader through 4 events will run in our second heat here, and that's Holland Powers, who's unattached. Avila up front right now, currently in 13th. So looking to get a strong 800 to boost her position in the standings. And she is dominating Heat 1, or at least she had been, as she started now to slow down. And we'll face some competition here from Fatima Ezrae Shefag with 1 to go in Heat 1 of the women's 800 in the pentathlon. Their 5th and final event. 5 events in 1 day of competition. That's the pentathlon. They've already completed the 60 hurdles, the high jump, the shot put, and the long jump before arriving at this 800 meters. The last event in any multi-discipline is always so cruel, be it the 800, the 1,000, or the 1,500. Fatima Ezrae Shefag wins Heat 1 of the women's 800 to wrap up her day, a busy day of competition. So we'll let the rest of our athletes trickle in here after they finish Heat 1, and Heat 2 will get set to run on the track, which will feature our athletes at the top of the standings, including Holland Powers, who has the lead with 3,552 points through 4 events. She's unattached. Second is Esther Condi Turpin of West Texas A&M. Those are the only 2 athletes currently above 3,000 points. Condi Turpin has 3,478 points through the first 4 events. So a little work to do to catch Powers, but we'll see how this 800 shakes out between our top 2 athletes. Those are the only 2 really in contention. But this is all about shaking off some rust. In all likelihood, this is the first multi-competition for most of these athletes this season. So getting a conference mark, busting the rust of putting so much stress on your body, which is the multi-events. That's kind of the goal this weekend. But a win would be nice too, and I'm sure Powers and Condi Turpin are both thinking of that entering this final race. In this Heat 2, we'll have Powers in 1, Condi Turpin of West Texas A&M in 2, Miley Osala of Cal State Fullerton in 3, Malia Ross of Grand Canyon in 4, Olivia Walker, Cal State Fullerton in 5, Livy Federle of Grand Canyon is in 6, Catherine Littlewood of Stanford's in 7, and Carmela Coulter of Ole Miss is in lane 8. Holland Powers holding true to her surname with the lead in this event and the lead through our first lap here in about 32 seconds. Behind her is the athlete who's chasing her in the standings. That's Condi Turpin of West Texas A&M. So our top 2 pentathletes through 4 events duking it out in this final event. Powers and Condi Turpin 1 and 2, 65 seconds through the first 2 laps through 400 meters. Holland Powers and Esther Condi Turpin, your top 2, both in this race and in the pentathlon standings. 1 to go at 1:39. It's a 34-second circuit for both Powers and Condi Turpin. Powers starting to put a little daylight between her and the West Texas A&M competitor behind her. Holland Powers is going to run away with this event and the whole competition. She completes a successful pentathlon this weekend in Albuquerque. 2:15 unofficially. Strong run for a pentathlete as Condi Turpin takes second and a big gap back to the rest of the field. So 888 points goes the way of Powers with the 2:15.37, with 2:17.14 for Condi Turpin. So we will be back shortly with more action, including the women's unseated 200-meter competition. Will come your way next. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Albuquerque, the site of the 2026 New Mexico Collegiate Classic. You're watching coverage live on FloTrack, presented by Saucony. We are set for the start of the women's 200-meter competition. These will be the unseeded sections. And in Heat 1, we will have Sarah Rivas of Stanford, Zakiya Hill of Arizona, Shane Harris of Northern Arizona, Judith Makobe of Alabama in lane 5, and Pachnali Compare of Ole Miss is in 6. So a very busy 5-athlete heat number 1 here for the women's unseeded 200 meters. We will have 17 heats coming your way next. Rivas, Hill, Harris, Makobe, and Compare. Heat 1 is underway in the women's 200. Shane Harris from Northern Arizona trying to creep up on the shoulder of Makobe and Compare, but now Makobe of Alabama running well, and Compare responding from Ole Miss. So an SEC battle here in Albuquerque goes the way of Ole Miss and Compare, who runs 23:46 to take heat number 1. 23:76 for Judith Makobe of Alabama, with Shane Harris followed by Zakiya Hill and Sarah Rivas. That is heat number 1. With heat 2 on the track quickly, we'll have slated to have 5 more athletes. Heat 2, let's introduce you to our field. We have Janelle Sanchez of Northern Arizona in lane 2, Paige Porter of Cal in 3, London Cologne of UTEP in 4. Appears lane 5 is a scratch. Lane 6 is Alicia Burnett of Ole Miss. So just 4 here. I mentioned it during the men's unseeded competition, but this unseeded women's competition, really an appetizer for the invitational sections, which will be coming your way at about 6:35 local time, so just under 2 hours from now. And that'll, Heat 1 in the invite section of the women's 200 will feature TCU's India Mayberry, who is the reigning NCAA indoor 200-meter women's champion. Sprints are heating up here in Albuquerque. We thank you for joining us for the first day of competition. And Heat 2 of the women's unseeded 200 meters underway with Sanchez, Porter, Cologne, and Burnett. Burnett in lane 6 there, the red of Ole Miss. Cologne, though, going to challenge. Into the straightaway we go. Burnett going to hold off Cologne and win convincingly heat number 2. Alicia Burnett, 23:75 for the win in heat 2. 24:30 London Cologne in second. With Paige Porter set third, 25:01. Here is Heat 3. Jaden Montgomery of Northern Arizona is in 2. Layla Lawson of New Mexico is in 3. Camila Aguilar Perez is in lane 4 from Arizona. Olivia Williams of Iowa is in 5. And lane 6 is a scratch. So just lanes 2 through 5. Montgomery, Lawson, Aguilar Perez, and Williams. 23:46, our quickest time through 2 heats. That was Pachnali Compere of Ole Miss in heat 1.
Right here, Jaden, everything you got. Let's go.
To give you a preview of what's to come, NCAA title last year, won by India Mayberry, who's coming up later in the invite sections. She ran 22.30, so we're talking about a performance tonight that could be over a second faster than what we've seen thus far. Some really special athletes still to come. Heat 3 is on the track of the women's unseeded 200. Montgomery, Lawson, Aguilar Perez, and Williams. And we'll get a slight hiccup corrected before we resume in Heat 3. I'm not privy to what's being shared there with with Layla Lawson, the New Mexico Lobo. Starter says, come on, you know the drill here. We know how we operate. But I don't imagine that's exactly what was said. We'll get reset in the blocks for Heat 3 of the women's unseeded 200 meters. Montgomery, Lawson, Aguilar, Perez, and Williams. 23:46, the fastest time through 2 heats in this event. And now we get away cleanly. It's Olivia Williams of Iowa being pursued by Lawson in the field, but this is going to be a blowout for Olivia Williams, who wins easily in Heat 3. 23:33, so Williams not only dominates that heat, but she takes over top position through 3 heats of the women's 200. It's a strong run there by Olivia Williams of Iowa. We'll be right back with more from Albuquerque, but before then we'll step aside and take a short break. Welcome back to the Albuquerque Convention Center and the 2026 New Mexico Collegiate Classic. We are on the track, set to go for Heat 4 of the women's unseeded 200 meters. We will have Addie Pendergast of Stanford in lane 3, Olivia Lucas of Iowa in lane 4, Athlea Hinkson of LSU in 5, and Brooklyn Davis, Cal State Fullerton will run in lane 6. As I hesitate there, so 2 straight competitions, 2 straight races with a slight snafu before things officially get underway. Track and field can be a highly coordinated, complicated endeavor when you factor in the gun and its ability to malfunction, and multiple athletes listening to that gun, and with the amount of races that we have this weekend, it's bound to happen ever so often. It just so happened on this time it's happened 2 races in a row, but the good news is no disqualifications, no issues. We're into the blocks for Heat 4 with Pendergast, Lucas, Hinkson, and Davis. But okay, things do start to get a little more bothersome when you have 2 issues in a row. It looked like Hinkson had a little issue in the blocks, and that could be related to a starter gun malfunction, and that is going to be the issue. So let me retract my statement about Hinkson. That wasn't her issue. We're having a starter's gun malfunction, and so we'll switch devices, if you will, and give this another go and hope the 3rd time is a charm for Heat 4. Obviously, it's mid-season. This isn't a race that's going to make or break anyone's career, but nonetheless, this is frustrating for these athletes to mentally put yourself in those blocks, be ready to go, and then have a hiccup interrupt that, and not only does it happen, but it happens again, and now it's kind of in your head as you go down in the blocks and just wanting to get your race underway. Pendergast, Lucas, Hinkson, and Davis. Let's try this again. And this time we're underway cleanly. Athalea Hinkson from LSU evaporates the stagger between her and Brooklyn Davis. Hinkson's going to have a challenge from Lucas to her inside. Not enough of a challenge, though. Athalea Hinkson, LSU, wins heat number 4. 23:68, with Alicia Lucas second from Iowa, 24:07. And Davis of Cal State Fullerton third, 24:33. So let's hope we've exercised those issues with our starting gun, and they'll be a thing of the past as we prepare for Heat 5 of the women's 200, which will feature Jayla Robinson of Texas Tech in lane 3, Brianna Word, Cal State Fullerton in 4, Rebecca Grieve of New Mexico is in 5, and Taylor Gulat, Alabama, in lane number 6. Working out the finer details of block arrangement with some measurements and the measuring tape. I am always fascinated to know who eyeballs it and who brings out the more scientific device of a measuring tape to set the blocks. Don't ask me why, it just fascinates me. That's Robinson, who had the measuring tape and is set to run for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. She'll operate out of lane 3. As we've seen a lot in the early part of this competition, and in my experience of the past couple weekends here, lanes 5 and 6, which are going to be your middle, or excuse me, lanes 5, one of your middle lanes, does typically go to your top-seeded athlete. A lot of winners out of lane 5. The issue here, though, Rebecca Grieve of New Mexico went a little early. Again, we'll see if it's a starter pistol issue. I think that's the case, but we'll have to await the meeting of the minds. So we'll get a look at our starter here, who's going to take a red card and disqualify Rebecca Grieve from heat number 5. It's a disappointing result, obviously, for Grieve and for New Mexico, and you don't want to excuse her false start as she perhaps protests it. But it's difficult when there's been some starters issues to put the blame completely on the athlete there. So another consultation, and they're going to stick with the red. And I think Rebecca Grieve is probably saying, can I compete under protest here? And I'm trying to lip read here. It's a little difficult to do. Okay, so after a discussion, we'll sort out with the starter, with the timers, what the exact issue is. So you still see Grieve behind her blocks. So a little consultation with the starter as he goes back to have another meeting with Rebecca Grieve. So after Rebecca Grieve speaks with our starter and files an informal protest of sorts, she's let off with a warning and will run here in Heat 5 once everything is sorted out, as New Mexico coaches come over to sort out the matter. So you really got to applaud Rebecca Grieve for sticking up for herself and wanting to stay in this race. Didn't know if there was going to be opportunity for her to run under protest. That's usually a championship level meet situation and not a mid-season race. But instead she fought her case and will compete here in Heat 5. It's been a while, so let's reintroduce you to Heat 5. We have Jayla Robinson of Texas Tech in 3. Brianna Word of Cal State Fullerton in 4. Rebecca Grieve, New Mexico in 5. And Taylor Gulat of Alabama is in lane 6. We are knocking on wood and crossing our fingers for a smooth start here in 5. Away we go. It was a smooth start and a good one for Rebecca Grieve. After all that, she is up front in this Heat 5 of the women's 200. Here comes Brianna Word to the inside, and now Gulat rallying. Taylor Gulat, but it is, wow, a blanket finish there between Grieve and Gulat. Tough to see who got that one. It was Taylor Gulat by 1/100th of a second, 24:03 to Rebecca Grieve's 24:04. So after a hectic pre-race, a very hectic actual race between Grieve and Gulat, Taylor Gulat getting the win in Heat 5, 24:03. So we'll hope for much less controversy in Heat 6, which will feature Motlatsi Rante of New Mexico Junior College running in lane 3. Samara Monroy, TCU in 4. Appears that lane 5, nope, I misspoke there. Sorry, that's Nina Thevenin, Grand Canyon in lane 5, and Kayla McBride of UCLA running in lane 6. 23 24:33, our fastest time of the afternoon here in the women's 200. That was Olivia Williams. So the results tell me in Heat 5, which we just saw, that Rebecca Grieve did run under protest. That's what the results say. So we will try to get word to you in a few moments as to exactly what the results of that Heat 5 will be for Grieve. Away we go for Heat 6, however. That's McBride in the yellow of UCLA, Thevenin in purple in lane 5 from Grand Canyon. Thevenin moving to the shoulder and bringing Monroy of TCU with her. Thevenin in the front into our final straightaway, and it's going to be Nina Thevenin. Grand Canyon winning Heat 6. She'll take a seat on the track. 23:93. After that one-lapper, McBride just outside of sub-24, 24:02. Monroy, 24:54 for third place. Okay, so Heat 7 is on the track next. A trio of UTEP minors and a Grand Canyon sprinter. So here's the field. Madison Evans will run in 3 from UTEP. Cindy Martin of UTEP will run in 4. Addison Strickland, UTEP, in 5. And Cassie Small of Grand Canyon is in lane 6. Evans, Martin, Strickland, and Small. We're up cleanly for Heat 7 of the women's 200. Cassie Small with the advantage from Grand Canyon, but others from UTEP in hot pursuit, including Cindy Martin in lane 4. Small, though, holding them off, and she'll hold them off all the way to the line. Cassie Small of Grand Canyon wins Heat 7, and she's happy with the time, 23:73. She'll give herself a round of applause. 24 flat for Sydney Martin of UTEP. Addison Strickland, third, 24:13, with Madison Evans in 4th. So there's your field for Heat 8. Let's introduce you to them. We have Elena Reed of Northern Arizona in 3, Tia Williams of TCU in 4, Layla Campbell, Ohio State in 5, and Rasha Badrani, New Mexico in lane 6. Into the blocks we go for Heat 8. Reed, Williams, Campbell, and Badrani. Layla Campbell quickly passed Badrani to her outside. This is Layla Campbell from Ohio State running in lane 5. The gray top and red shorts of the Buckeyes. Layla Campbell starting to give up her lead, but it won't be nearly enough. Layla Campbell takes Heat 8. 23-5-0. Badrani was starting to make up some of that gap that Layla Campbell opened up through the first half of that race, but it was a little too late as Campbell wins with Badrani second and Williams third. So we will step aside after that race for just a quick break. We'll be right back for more in the women's 200 here at the New Mexico Collegiate Classic. Welcome back inside the Albuquerque Convention Center. This is day one of FloTrack's coverage of the 2026 New Mexico Collegiate Classic. This will be Heat 9, the women's unseeded 200 meters. We'll have Cecilia Woods of Arizona running in lane 3. Jasmine Williams of Cal State Fullerton in 4. Kaliza Smith of LSU in 5. And Iba Niamake Kawau of Grand Canyon in lane 6. (23:33) still our fastest time so far in this event. Run in previous heat by Olivia Williams of Iowa. Start for Smith of LSU. She quickly has the advantage. It's Kaliza Smith, the purple of the LSU Tigers. She's dominating heat. Number 9, she wins going away there. Really an easy one for her. 23:09. Will make the fastest time of the day so far for the women's 200 by quite a margin there. So we go from 23:33 down to 23:09 with Kaliza Smith of the LSU. A comfortable victory and a very quick solo effort for Smith to win Heat 9. Just whittling our way down the clock here as we look ahead to our invitational sections. There'll be plenty of athletes in that invitational section who will not exceed that 23:09 we just saw from Kaliza Smith. That was a really good run, a run that will set her up for faster